Hi, I'm State Representative Doyle Heffley, and welcome to this edition of Legislative Report. Today we're coming to you from Penns Peak in beautiful Jim Thorpe, and we're here talking with the Carbon County Chamber and Economic Development Corporation. And I'd like to introduce Marlon Kistner, the VP of Economic Development for the Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce. Did I say the title right?
You're close.
You're close. and Kathy Henderson, who's in charge of Economic Development for the Carbon Chamber and Economic Development Corporation. Marlon, that's an interesting connection that the Carbon Chamber has with you and the Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber. And maybe you could explain a little bit of how that whole partnership works.
Absolutely. So the Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce, which is the #1 chamber in Pennsylvania, really prides themselves on partnerships. And so Carbon County Chamber and Economic Development is one of those partners. So we have this wonderful opportunity to really keep our autonomy and do great things locally, but we've got this great source behind us for public policy issues and infrastructure and things like that we can really depend upon them. So again, we pride ourselves on partnerships from the Greater Lehigh Valley's point, but we really work on the local level with businesses and again, public policy, infrastructure, healthcare, things like that locally.
And I think it's key as you look at the overall economy of Carbon County and the regional economy as a whole, that I think it's 52% of the folks that live in Carbon County actually work in the Lehigh Valley. So that partnership, while we have that economic growth and job creation here in Carbon County, but also in the Lehigh Valley, there's so many people that commute there to work, and that you know, in some areas we're very much of a bedroom community. Tourism is our #1 industry in Carbon County. We want to, you know, we can look out here and see the vistas and the beautiful mountains, and that's why people come here to relax. I always say everybody from the Lehigh Valley goes to Carbon County on the weekend, and I think those partnerships are very important.
Yeah, and it's so true. And I can tell you this: I live here, work here, play here, and so I feel like I'm a #1 ambassador for this place because I do all of it. And we do hear that Carbon County is the Lehigh Valley's playground, with our ski resorts, with our hiking, our outdoor activity, and even history. People love to come here for the history of it. So again, it's exciting to be able to promote the local businesses so that we've got other folks coming in and really keeping our business strong.
Yeah, I think if you look at the history that we have here, which is, you know, obviously on showcase primarily there in downtown Jim Thorpe. You have the train station, you have the Lehigh Canal, the DNL rails to trails, but also in places like Penns Peak and the Opera House. We're seeing the you know national acts coming in on a weekly basis. Tonight here at Penns Peak, they have a show of Charlie Daniels, which is so I think it's great that people can come here, but the folks that live here. Used to be you had to travel an hour or 45 minutes to see a show or entertainment, and now we have that right here in our own backyard, and I think that's key. And along with that tourism and economy, we also have a vibrant manufacturing base. And I know, Kathy, you've been working a lot on a lot of different projects and opportunities that we have here in Carbon County.
Yes, actually some of our companies here are actually international companies where the materials and the products that they manufacture are shipped overseas to other countries, and we have some companies that are the largest in the world in their respective industries. So we have the largest aluminum powder manufacturer in the world right here in Palmerton. So a lot of our residents even don't realize how important manufacturing is to Carbon County, to our economy here.
And when you look back at the history of Carbon County, obviously coal was a big part of that. The anthracite coal region, which Carbon County lies right within that. We still have a lot of mining activity going on yet in Carbon County, and the railroad supports that, and also the infrastructure. There's been a lot of infrastructure improvements lately on our highways, some new bridges and some refurbished bridges and some expansion on some of our highways. If you could talk just a little bit about how important is infrastructure, and why does Carbon County, with their alignment of where we're at, why is that important to economic growth?
Well, if you don't have the way of getting your goods to market, you're sunk. So infrastructure is the basic thing that you need to be a successful economy. So if we don't have strong infrastructure, not only in Carbon and Pennsylvania, but also in our country, we can't compete globally. So in order to be more competitive, we have to have a strong infrastructure, be it air, rail, freight, trucks on the highways. We have to have those pieces of infrastructure in tip-top shape so we can get our goods to market.
I think it's key because you want to keep those trucks on your truck routes and not in through your neighborhood. So I think that's an important part of it.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that you work a lot on is economic development. What do you think the outlook is for Carbon County? What businesses are thriving, and what types of industries are interested in our region, in our area?
Well, right now, obviously, in looking at the Lehigh Valley, warehousing and distribution is a big thing down there. So they're getting built out down there. And so I've been contacted by site searchers and commercial realtors who are looking now in our area to come north for warehouse and distribution centers. So what our challenge is, and in looking at our different locations here, is to make sure that they're situated with easy access to interstate highways, the I-80, to the Turnpike, and make sure that if they are constructed or when they are constructed, that they're in a location where they're not going to damage our local ecology. Because as you said, tourism is our #1 industry. So where we need to provide those good paying jobs and a good diversity of jobs, we also need to make sure that those companies are put in a location that they don't damage our environment as well.
And I think that's key. And when we talk about the Lehigh Valley Chamber and some of the projects that have been done in the Lehigh area, if you look at the old Bethlehem Steel plant now becoming the Sands Casino, and how the Lehigh Chamber was involved in many of those brownfield cleanups and redevelopment of those areas, what kind of expertise does the Chamber and the partners bring to those types of projects?
I think with being the #1 chamber in Pennsylvania, we have over 5,000 businesses that we can really reach out to for that support. And we really do consider ourselves connectors. So it's our job to connect the right people, the right business, so that we could really bring the same up here. And that's what's been exciting for me. Like I said, living here, I worked in the Valley for a while, and then coming up here and be able to work in my own home and have Kathy and I work as a team. We're probably one of the only organizations in the area that is economic development and chamber in one. So we have this great ability to be able to work with a new entrepreneur from the start with business planning to loan help, and then making sure that on the chamber side, they're sustaining their business through low-cost marketing. So it's a really great team effort.
And I know a lot of the work that you do, and you connect people to the SBDC and different programs that are out there for entrepreneurs and for small businesses to grow. And we've had the opportunity, I have, of attending several ribbon cuttings throughout Carbon County of those small businesses, those startups, those mom and pops that are creating, I think, 80% of the jobs are created by small businesses and startup companies. So I think just really want to commend the Chamber on the work that you've done. Since I've been in office and was elected, I think really we had seen a huge change in the Chamber, and going from just the Carbon Chamber to the Carbon Chamber and Economic Development Corporation, and incorporating the loan programs that you're now able to do through your office. And as a legislator, when people come to me and they're asking for assistance to start a business, it's so helpful to have a vibrant and healthy chamber that is really working in the community. So I really want to commend you on where you started as a chamber, and the merger with the IDA and everything that it's become to where the chamber is today, and the training that you do for local businesses and the opportunities that you offer them, I think is key.
Yeah, and you know what, Doyle, honestly, we couldn't do it without your support, as well as our county commissioners. We realize the importance of having great relationships and very open communication, and that has helped us tremendously, making sure that we know we have you on speed dial when I need you at that ribbon cutting, and you're there. And that really means a lot to us, and it really means a lot to our local businesses. When we can bring a commissioner, when we can bring our state representative there where you can say a few words, I'll tell you, that just means the world to them. So having the great relationships that we have locally, and again, working together so that we have a great handoff from Kathy to myself, it's been really exciting, and we are very, very busy.
Well, anytime you need somebody to say a few words, I'm always in. I'm at home. My wife and children always tell me to stop talking. So.
Yeah, we'll let you talk.
Well, thank you.
The other leg of that three-legged stool, though, is you referring
Yes.
people to us who are looking to open a business and don't know exactly which way to turn. A lot of times they'll call your office and speak to you or to staff and ask, what do I do next? And we've had quite a few referrals from your office saying, Doyle told me to call, this is where I have to come. And we say, absolutely, we are here to help. So thank you for that. We appreciate it.
And I think if you look at some of the opportunities that we have here in Carbon County, we've seen the KME purchase a Rev Group of the KME Enterprise, and now they're growing that business and wanting to expand and update some of the systems there. Here you had a company that was started by Sonny Kovac in a garage, build up to being 900 employees, and now it's really taking it to the next level and continuing to build fire trucks that we ship all over the world. And then if you look at the Sharp Compliance coming in with their facility in Nesquehoning, creating more jobs, and then you have Amatec, which is a company that's been established here for quite some time, and you still have the zinc company operating and the coal mines that have been here for generations. So I think there's a lot of continued opportunities for growth in our area. I think one of the keys, one of the reasons why our area is so great is because of our workforce. We have a tremendous work ethic. And if you could, Kathy, just explain a little bit of what are the coordinations between the different technical schools and training to help and provide that 21st century workforce.
Well, our tech school, CCTI, Carbon Career and Technical Institute, is excellent when it comes to training the students. They also have agreements with some of our local manufacturers where the students can come and work in those manufacturing situations so that they can get on-the-job experience. They also have a matriculation agreement with L-Tri-C, so their students at CCTI can also earn advanced credits while they're at school at CCTI to go on to L-Tri-C if they want more credits in their field. There's a lot of job openings in the trades. We all know that baby boomers are starting to retire. The average age in those types of jobs in manufacturing especially is 55 to 56 years old. So we're going to be in trouble. Our pipeline is not going to be filled with experienced or skilled workers if we don't get moving. So CCTI is at the top of their game in that respect. They are ranked #1 in the state of Pennsylvania for their academics, and in them working with us at the Chamber and our business education partnership, where we put business and education at the same table so they can learn from each other what each other needs.
Yeah, and I think that's really key. Is we talked about partnerships with the Chamber and how the Chamber can relay that message to our institutions like CCTI and all of our schools here in Carbon County, which do a phenomenal job at preparing those students for the next role, whether they're going to be going to a four-year college or a technical or trade school or directly into the trades or into the workforce. And I think it's important that we continue to communicate with the next generation of workers that are coming out of school now as to what the job potentials are. And you know, for so long, there'd always been this push for college and a four-year degree. And I really look at our economy today as being something that's continuing to evolve with the increases or the advancements in technology and just productivity. The jobs that were there 5-10 years ago are no longer there. And I always tell the story of it, when I was in high school, if you would have thought if you get a job making cassette tapes, like, wow, I'm going to have a job forever. And then along comes the CD, and like, oh no, well, if you get a job making CDs, you're going to have a job forever. And along comes the iPod. And now, you know, if you look at a DJ nowadays, they used to have a stack of CDs when they would come in. Now they just have a laptop with all their computer on there. And the technological advancements are just becoming so fast-paced. What does the Chamber, what message do you have to those small businesses or startup businesses or those companies that are out there? What can they do to help to keep up with workforce development and with technology advancements?
Well, they could reach out to us for connections to educational institutions or advanced learning facilities that can help them keep up. But they're going to have to. Advanced manufacturing is growing by leaps and bounds. So what I mean by that is 3D printing is something. So in Carbon County, we have an awesome STEM program that starts with the little kids, and they are building things with 3D printers. When I was in kindergarten, we were happy to have finger paints, you know. So now they're actually building things. It's extremely exciting. I don't know where we're going to go next. You know, it's just an exciting thing to watch. But yeah, manufacturing especially, they need to keep on the cutting edge of their industry. And so to do that, they need to be involved in the Chamber because we are also, through our partnership with the Greater Lehigh Valley, they're also able to go to the manufacturers' summits down at Steel Stacks that are put on by Manufacturers Resource Center. They're extremely valuable for information and networking for manufacturers so that they can keep ahead of their game.
Well, thank you. And we're just going to take a brief break here, and we'll be back to continue this episode of Legislative Report.
Did you know that the state capitol is not only the epicenter of the Commonwealth's governing bodies, but was once home to 390 preserved Civil War flags? During the war, it was customary for each state to furnish their regiments in battle with flags representing their contribution to the Union Army. After the war, Pennsylvania's military department was responsible for collecting the flags, and in 1872, they were reverently housed in the Capitol. Following the completion of construction on the new Capitol building in 1914, the Civil War flags were moved to the Capitol Rotunda. They were kept untouched in custom-made flag cases until 1982, when the Capitol Preservation Committee initiated its Save the Flags project. Throughout the years, dust and long-term vertical display of the flags had begun to devastate the brittle silk fabric and painted designs. The flags were removed by local textile conservators and were repaired and preserved in storage units that protect the relics from light, dust, and excessive handling. Now you know.
Did you know that on October 4th, 1911, the statues that greet visitors in front of the state capitol building in Harrisburg were dedicated to the citizens of the Commonwealth? In 1902, George Gray Bernard was commissioned to design the figures that embellish the front of the Capitol building. During the installation period, Bernard explained to the General Assembly what each sculpture symbolized. The Southern group, titled The Burden of Life, depicts the story of Adam and Eve followed by the fall of man in the forms of despair. The Northern group, titled Love and Labor, depicts male and female figures reaping fruits of labor and advances to a new Adam and Eve who gaze westward into the future. Recently, both sculptures underwent restoration to prevent further deterioration from their natural beauty. Now you know.
Welcome back to this edition of Legislative Report. I'm State Representative Doyle Heffley, and we'll continue our conversation with the Carbon County Chamber and Economic Development Corporation. And Marlon, I know as we talked earlier in the episode about a lot of the manufacturing, economic development, and things going on in the community, and you had talked about the partnerships. Maybe you could explain a little bit of what the Chamber does with the young professionals partnerships and some of the other programs that the Chamber has.
Absolutely. So we have a lot of different councils and committees that fall under our umbrella. And one of them is the Young Professionals Council. We were talking a little bit about the importance of job growth, and we really can't do that without our young professionals. So we have a council that actually is professionals around the 20-something to 30-something year of age, and
those millennials.
The millennials, and we love them. I'll tell you, they are all over social media. We know how important that is, and we hear that from our businesses, that you have got to be on Facebook and Twitter and be able to use a lot of that social media to build your business. So the council works on different initiatives and events, and I'll tell you what, they're really interested in community involvement. And I think that gives us an opportunity at the Chamber to say, give back to your community. So our young professionals do different things so that they're doing scholarships and they're doing volunteerism, throughout the county. So that's been exciting. In addition, we have a tourism committee that also works on different events and initiatives that happen in the county. We have an ambassador committee that works on our events. As Kathy said, an education partnership committee. We have Leadership Carbon. So we have so many things under our umbrella. We're busy every day. We probably average 2 to 3 ribbon cuttings a week sometimes. And again, it just brings businesses together. It lets us highlight businesses so that when we have a ribbon cutting, 50, 60 people show up that may have never walked in there before, and then they're going to come back. So it's a really great time in Carbon County. We're feeling the growth weekly, and I think we're a hidden gem that people are finding.
Well, that's awesome. Now, I was up a few weeks ago to the Blue Mountain Ski Resort. We had the initial kickoff banquet for the Leadership Carbon, which I think is a really unique program to Carbon County. If you could just explain a little bit about that program and why it's such an important program to have in a county like Carbon.
And we love having you there all the time because you remind everybody. I think Blue Mountain was one of your first jobs.
Yes, I guess I say that all the time. Yes, it was. And I think that's important that we look at the tourism in the area and those first jobs. When I turned 16 years old, I started at the ski area, worked for the rafting companies, worked for a landscaper that did a lot of work in the area. So I think that's a lot. There's a lot of those jobs, and it's important that when you turn 16 to get that first job and get that, learn that work ethic and responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And so our Leadership Carbon class is something we're very proud of. We have about a dozen participants that go through a full 9-month program. And what we do is we contact the local government, really all kinds of areas in the county that they may never get exposed to. Our EMS system, the education system, the nature gap, things like that they, even though they live here, they probably don't know a whole lot about. So they'll spend a half a day with one of those locations, and then the second part of that would be a leadership proponent. So helping them, mentoring them, bringing guest speakers in, and bringing folks from the county in to just really educate them on the great things that we have in the county. They really come together at the end in a class, and they may come up with a project. Like the current dental van that we have is from Leadership Carbon. The Hippie 5K that we do to raise scholarship money, that came out of Leadership Carbon. So it's a really great way to pull these professionals together and get them to the next level. And really our hope is that they're going to serve on a nonprofit board, because we know the importance of having leaders on nonprofit boards to keep them strong, and that's one of the big things that we push.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that was always mentioned at these leadership meetings and with Leadership Carbon is just the term leadership. A lot of people think about it, what makes a good leader or what makes a bad leader. And I think whether you look at every level of whether it be government, the private sector, if you have somebody in a role where they don't fit in a leadership role, it can definitely be detrimental to the entire program. And I think leadership skills are something that need to be learned and taught, and I think it's really important. If you put the wrong person in the wrong place, it's not good for anybody. So I think that's one of the things that Leadership Carbon really does. It helps to mentor folks in a leadership role.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Kathy and I really, on a daily basis, we mentor a lot of folks, and we mentor business owners. We mentor young professionals that come, and really we take that to heart to make sure that we're helping a lot of these young professionals make it to that next level as well.
And I think here with the Carbon Chamber, I think we have some great mentors. I know Tony Iannelli.
Yes, absolutely. My mentor.
Your mentor with the Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber, and Mr. Mike Harleman, who does just a wonderful job here at Carbon County. Give a shout out to Mike and say hello for all that he does for the Carbon Chamber. And it really is, it's a network of individuals that serve on the board of the Chamber, as I've come to learn, that really make it what it is.
Yeah,
our
we
volunteers
have a
are very important.
Yeah, strong board. Yes. You know, and Barb Green from Blue Mountain Resort, Pat Riley from Mock Chung Trust, and that board is what steers us, like Kathy said, and we couldn't do it without their leadership.
And I think when you look at it, you think of Carbon County, a lot of people think the train station or Jim Thorpe or the coal mines or the zinc company or the farm agricultural opportunities, but it really, we have so many great community banks that help to promote those local businesses. It's so important to have that, and the fact that you have the community banks, you have the resorts, you have the manufacturers, all involved in the board, I think is what is really so important.
Yeah, we have 3 community banks that sit on our board, and they're always there. So they're always there to help. They're always there when a nonprofit asks for their help, or an organization, from the schools or scouting or whoever asks them for financial contributions or support. They're always there. So we really are blessed.
Yeah. So what are the opportunities coming forward? I know that you're always working on something. It's not just about banquets and hippie runs, which are all fun, but it's really about the substance. And we've seen it with the sharp compliance coming in Nesquehoning, creating jobs and taking over a vacant building. So what are some of the opportunities that we have going forward?
Well, there's a few I can speak of and a few I can't. But one of the ones I can speak of is the hotel project at Blue Mountain Resort, the hotel condominium project that will expand Barb Green's resort and provide several hundred new jobs and job opportunities in the hospitality industry. The other project I'm working on is having to do with warehousing and distribution in our county as well, but I can't just divulge anything else about that. But there's another tourism project that is being worked on as well. So there's a lot going on.
And we have the KOZ area
KOZ,
in the Kidder Township, which is right off of Route 80, which is prime for that warehousing and distribution so close to the interstate, and the KOZ zone, which was set up to help to bring those businesses in and grow. We have the Penny's Pipeline project, which is coming through, which is actually going to feed all of Carbon County with natural gas, Pennsylvania natural gas, Pennsylvania energy, Pennsylvania jobs, Pennsylvania tax revenue, which is something that is really exciting as you look towards that project. Obviously, we want to ensure that any project like that that's being done is going to be held to the highest environmental standards. But I think you also have to look at it when these projects come through, what are the opportunities with the compressor station and the link to the KOZ zone. I think is an opportunity to partner up with the link at the ski area, and with that line coming from Palmerton to feed all of Carbon County with this Pennsylvania resource.
We have to look at it as it's not just providing jobs for those people who would work for PennEast or for UGI. It's ancillary jobs that will be created because of the easy access to natural gas.
And also bringing the price down for residents that live here that want to heat their home with natural gas. So I think that's
it's clean.
Also, yeah.
It's a clean alternative, to other methods of heating your home. So yes, definitely.
And you can see, but just by looking out here at Penn's Peak, I must say, the folks that are watching, just to see behind you, we're going to try to get some shots to put on the screen later. It just is a beautiful day here in Carbon County. This is the kind of a late summer. At the end of this episode will air a little bit later in the year, but it's just a wonderful day here in Carbon County, and to come out and you see it on the weekends, you see the amount of bicycles on the rooftops and those tourists coming in, bringing those dollars into our area. So we definitely want to preserve our natural features, the Lehigh Gorge, the state parks, and all the scenic vistas that we have, and at the same time grow where we can in our economy, making sure it's done right to provide those opportunities so folks don't have to travel an hour and a half, 2 hours to go to work, that they're going to be able to get those good family-sustaining jobs right here in Carbon County.
And listen, we're around the table with every one of those conversations, and that's something we're very proud of. So when it comes to the economy, when it comes to really the ecology, to what we have to do to preserve, we have been asked to be there. So we're excited to be part of it.
Yeah. And if you look at from the coal, our coal heritage, and to our manufacturing heritage, which had somewhat gave us opportunities for cleanups, and you continue to see that work going forward, whether it be with the cogen plant in Nesquehoning, which is reusing the waste coal piles and continues to clean up the environment, or the projects that we have in Palmerton, cleaning up some of the brownfields, and we have the number one aluminum producer and also one of the number one recyclers there at the zinc company. So I think there's a lot of opportunities going forward, and certainly look forward to working with the chamber and the communities to continue to grow here in Carbon County. But I thank you so much for your time today. Absolutely. And I know you have a very busy schedule, and wishing you all the best for growth in the future, and continuing to partner with you. And that's about all the time we have for this episode of Legislative Report. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And just remind you, if you have any state-related questions or issues, you can please contact my offices. And in Lehigh, we have an office in Albrightsville. We're in Weatherly and Lansford. If you have any state-related issues, please contact us, and we'd be happy to help out. Thank you.